What's going on, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, happy Monday. Welcome to the RAS Project. Real stories from real humans. This is where we debunk the bullshit and fluff and talk about 100% proven tactics and strategies to help you grow your life and business. Of course, my name is Ivan Temelkov. I hope you weren't expecting anyone else. I'm your host, and as you can probably tell, I sound like shit. But you know what? We're going to get through this episode nonetheless. But before we jump into the topic of the day, and that is what entrepreneurship is really like, and this is something that I wanted to cover. Please make sure that you subscribed to the RAS Project on your favorite podcasting platform of your choice. You can listen in audio. And also, before I forget, please make sure and you subscribe to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/ Ivan Temelkov. There's a lot of previous videos there from the RAS project that you can check out. And this episode also will be available on there as well. Before I forget, got questions? I got answers. If there's something specific that you want to cover on this podcast, please drop me an email at ivan at razorsharpdigital.com. And I think with that being said, I want to go ahead and just jump right into today's topic and talk about what entrepreneurship is really like. And I'll start off with this. So if you've been unable to distinguish that, I sound like shit because I'm sick and I don't know what I've picked up. It's probably something that my daughter had from this past week. And, I just happened to absorb that because as a father, that's what happens. You tend to catch some of the stuff that your kids have. And so with that being said, I'm sick, but you know what? The show must go on. And with that being said, entrepreneurship is probably one of the most unpredictable things that you have ever done. I think if a lot of people had any idea of what entrepreneurship is really like in reality, I highly doubted that anyone would actually get into entrepreneurship. I mean, where do I start? Going from being bankrupt 4 years ago to making six figures in 2020 and scaling and building a digital marketing agency to one day I'm making money, the next day I'm not making money, to every month I have to chase every single one of my clients to get paid on time, to I mean, the list goes on and on, to, oh, I made some money, but tomorrow I'm making no money, or, I generated a new client, sign up a new client, to, oh shit, I lost a client, and that is the unfortunate part of it. But um there are a lot of repercussions of entrepreneurship, a lot of repercussions. I just don't think that a lot of people are cut out for it. It can be depressing. It's most definitely stressful. It can build a lot of anxiety, also, especially in the early years of business. Statistically, over 99% of entrepreneurs, and small businesses don't make it in the first 4 years. You know, Job growth is at the core of small businesses. So entrepreneurs are an essential part of creating jobs in the US economy specifically. So we need more entrepreneurs, but the challenge is that they don't teach entrepreneurship in school. I know when I went to school, they didn't teach me shit about entrepreneurship. In fact, they taught me how to do everything by the book. And that was one of the things that I knew that I just wasn't cut out for. I never really was by the book kind of guy. I created my own path. I create my own legacy. And I think that's some of the things that I think a lot of people need to understand, because sure, social media is very accessible nowadays. Sure, a lot of people think that entrepreneurship is an easily attainable thing, but in the reality of things, it's probably one of the hardest things. I'll give you a prime example. Earlier this year, I purchased one of my dream cars, and one of the first things that someone said on Messenger was completely degrading to me. Oh yeah, you took that bail money and bought a new car, right? It's like, motherfucker, do you even know that I busted my ass 4 years to get to here? But that's just it. A lot of people will easily judge your actions. A lot of people will misconstrue anything that you do. In fact, a vast majority of people are going to say that what you're doing is completely fucking pointless, that you're wasting your time, that you need to go get a 9 to 5 job. I don't know about you, but all that shit are things that I've gone through and still keep going through on a daily basis. Sure, it's easier said than done, but as a father, as a husband, as a head of household, let me tell you, it ain't easy to pay rent every month. It ain't easy to put groceries on the table every month. It ain't easy to pay my daughter's daycare every month. It ain't easy to make a business grow. It ain't easy to generate leads. Because if it was easy, everybody would be fucking doing it. And that's entrepreneurship. If there's one thing that I have learned in entrepreneurship, is just that you have to play a long game. You know, you have to play for the long haul. And honestly, you got to have a really, really thick backbone, you know, because you're going to go through some shit. You're going to go through some shit, man. There's going to be people that are going to backstab you. There's going to be people who you thought were friends that are going to talk trash behind your back. All that shit's going to happen. So the next time you judge, I think today is actually Cyber Monday, so I would encourage you guys, go out and buy local from a local business. Support local businesses. They need you more than ever now. These are entrepreneurs. These are job creators. I need you guys to understand that, and if you're in those shoes, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a small business owner, I know you can absolutely relate. It ain't easy. It's not going to be easy. In fact, it's not easy to start. It's not going to get any easier as you keep going. And definitely when you think that you've made it, it's going to be the hardest than ever before, because you've got to be even more disciplined at that level. I know a lot of you probably follow, people who have blue check marks and shit, and, have built multi-million-dollar businesses and all this, but have you ever truly questioned them directly to tell you what it took to get to that point? And even then, so what does it take to maintain something like that on a daily basis? Imagine having to steer a giant cruise ship on a daily basis. That is literally what entrepreneurship is like. And then knowing that the ship could sink any day, any moment, a hurricane can come by, you know, I mean, there's so many different aspects of entrepreneurship. And look, I'm not here to refrain you from getting into entrepreneurship. I'm here to show you some real perspective based on things that I have done and experienced personally, to tell you that it ain't fucking easy. It's far from easy. And anyone that makes it seem easy, let me tell you, they either are not trying hard enough or they're not doing shit. That's the reality of it. The other thing is, and this is something I was thinking about recently, excuse me, is that you will always be criticized by people who are doing less than you. There's always going to be someone. There's always going to be someone. Prime example is I had someone that was trash talking on Instagram a few weeks ago. I don't even know where in the fuck that shit came from, but was just completely trash talking. You know, the beauty about that is, and here's something that you need to remember as an entrepreneur also, is that success is the best revenge that you can have. And what I mean by that is, so first of all, you have to define what that success looks like for you. I think a lot of entrepreneurs specifically get into the entrepreneurial game for the wrong reasons. They get into it because I think that they're going to make a lot of money really quick. They're going to build the next Apple or the next Microsoft or the next Tesla, you know, but that's far from the truth. This is why I mentioned earlier on that 99% of entrepreneurs fail in the first 4 years of building a business, is because of the level of uncertainty and unforeseen things that happen. So, with that being said, you know, it's going to be a difficult road, but you have to define what success looks like for you, and success is that revenge. So the haters, the naysayers, the backstabbers, you know someone told me something on Twitter, responding back to a tweet of mine, said, um, be the light and think from an abundant standpoint. That was in response to a conversation that I was having about, the haters, the backstabbers, because I'm the entrepreneur. The more you have, the more you know that you're making strides. That's one thing. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because you're going to have a lot of people who are going to disagree, you know, with what you're doing and why you're doing it. A lot of people. And in the reality of things, you shouldn't be worried about what they think. What do you think? Because at the end of the day, and I made a post about this on Facebook earlier today, is I think a lot of people are looking for validation from influencers on things that they already know the answers to, when in reality, all you need is self-belief. If you don't believe in yourself, who the fuck is going to believe in you? That's a big thing that a lot of entrepreneurs, need to understand. But going back to success, I want to finish that thought, is just that most entrepreneurs don't know what success looks like to them. They just think that it's, well, I'm going to become an entrepreneur. I'm going to make a lot of money. Well, it ain't that easy, bro. Pump the brakes for a second. One of the first things that you need to do is determine what success looks like to you, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, right? And because one of the biggest things that I think entrepreneurs don't understand is just that, the entrepreneurial game is 80% psychology and 20% skill. You could be the most skilled on the face of the earth, but if you don't have the psychological aspect, the methodology behind it, then chances are you're not going to be able to propel very quickly. So this is why I'm such a huge fan of psychology, because psychology really makes you think differently, and you can apply that psychological aspect to business also. The reason why I work out 6 days a week is because it creates this abundant mindset for me. It helps me with personal development. As a result, it reflects on my business. And so, these are things that I think you need to define for yourself, what success looks like for you, before, you go out there and guns blazing, which in reality is what a lot of entrepreneurs do, you know? So with that being said, I want you to take into consideration these things, that it's not easy, but you shouldn't get frustrated. Um, in becoming an entrepreneur, or wanting to build a business, or going after your vision, going after goals and dreams, but know that it's going to be difficult, because if it wasn't difficult, then you know only a small portion of people are getting into it for that reason. And that's why 99% of entrepreneurs fail, because they get into entrepreneurship only to find out that it's a lot harder, than what they anticipated. I mean, where do I start? So a couple of years ago, here's another example. I had met with a guy who was like, I have a great idea for this app, and he was telling me about it. I'm like, yeah, man, sounds like a great idea. You should pursue it. Figure out, how to get funding. Figure out, can you do it yourself? Can you bootstrap some of this? Can I help you with anything? And only to find out that 2 years later that guy ditched his idea, hasn't done shit with it, and he's been doing the 9 to 5 grind, and thinks that he's happy because that's it's a supplement to um his ideas, the idea that he had. And here's the thing that I will tell you, as an entrepreneur, one of the worst feelings that you can have is regret, knowing that there was something that you wanted to do. You wanted to build a business, you want to go after an idea, you had a vision, and you didn't do it, because later on down the road you're going to regret all that time that you lost, when you could have been building towards that dream. you know I will tell you this, I mean, from a business side of things, sure, being able to seek funding for your business is great. Having a line of credit will be great if you can have something like that, you know because I think a lot of entrepreneurs bootstrap a lot of things, and that works to an extent. In fact, most businesses were bootstrapped. I know Google was bootstrapped out of a garage, is how it started out. And so, there are different things that you can do in entrepreneurship to help set you up for success. Now, most people try to take the bootstrap approach, and make sure that it's very cost efficient. They invest their own time, but that's not necessarily always the best approach. You know, so again, what I wanted to convey in this episode is to let you know that entrepreneurship is not easy for a reason. Please don't get discouraged. Know that it's difficult for a reason. It's a test. And the longer you keep at it, the more you're building. It's kind of like building a house, brick by brick, being able to stack one brick at a time, and then, be able to build your dream, your goal. What I'm curious in knowing is, for those of you watching and listening, if you could drop me an email. I'm going to throw it up here. Ivan at razorsharpdigital.com, and let me know, what are you currently working on. What kind of a business are you trying to build? What's your vision? What kind of goals do you have? You can reach me on all the socials as well. And again, you can subscribe to the RAS Project on any audio podcasting platform of your choice. And again, thanks so much, guys, for bearing with me and my terrible voice. It's one of those days. Hope you have a great rest of your Monday. And thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the RAS Project. Until next time, triumph victoriously. Take care.